All right, y'all. Good afternoon. Well, no, it's still morning. My gosh, this hour change in time, and I don't have my time fixed in my car. Anyway, I think it's almost noon. So, but anyway, yeah. This is the I'm Free Project. This is James. All right, like, tweet, share it. This is some good information here, and it's really. And I'm not going to talk about any of the gay stuff, the homosexual stuff today. This time around, I have something that is very disturbing. I mean, it was really disturbing. I mean, it's almost heartbreaking. Well, very disheartening and heartbreaking and all that stuff. I was rather surprised, but you know, I don't know. I guess again, we're at that place. I mean, we have been, are, and we just are. We're just at that place where, you know, people don't seem to. I mean, you got your people out there who are concerned, you know, especially when it comes to matters of race, because you saw people and the solidarity of people with the Michael Brown, with the Trayvon Martin stuff, and they're still talking about it on the radio. I think another incident just happened recently. At Kent State, you know, with these frat boys, and they're chanting a very racist chant using the N-word and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, but yeah. So what I'm going to talk about today is something that I normally don't talk about. Excuse me, I normally don't talk about, but after last week, you know, I feel like I have to say something about it, and it's with regards to, okay, well, let me put it like this. My wife, you know, was so interesting. I know that's why God brought us together, because for me, you know, as a former homosexual, you know, I speak out with regards to homosexuality and God's ability to set people free, and then my wife, you know, talks about another big social issue, and that's abortion. As a matter of fact, she is a organizer for 40 Days for Life, and they organize prayer vigils and events outside of Planned Parenthood. And recently, she was telling me about, excuse me. Recently, she was telling me about one of the prayer vigils that they had outside of Planned Parenthood. And there's two angles I can go with this, because a couple of angles, but I'm going to stick to the main one that really, you know, just really dropped my jaw when she told me about it. And it's rather surprising that most of us don't really pay attention to this. And it seems like the black church doesn't really care. I'm not saying all, but a lot of the black church really don't want to get involved in this particular issue. Again, like homosexuality as well, until it's right there in their face. And then they have to deal with it. But anyway, but yeah, so she goes to a vigil that she had organized, and there are people there, and everyone's walking around with their signs and everything, and prayer, and they're peaceful. You know, there's not a whole bunch of, you know, you're gonna go to hell kind of stuff and blah blah blah. No, it's prayer, and they offer support for those who they see going in, and you know, they're walking the sidewalk because you have to be a certain distance from the facility by law. So anyway, yeah, so she was telling me about the prayer, and one of the things that stood out to her that was so heartbreaking that she said was that out of all the people that were there walking and praying, between her and maybe two other people, the rest were of a different race. They were Caucasian, or maybe Hispanic, or something like that. And guys, it was like, wow, because that is so significant in understanding the numbers of black babies that are aborted each and every day, every year. And when you think about the concentration of Planned Parenthood facilities in brown and black communities, it's almost as though it's an organized it's hard for me to say. No, it's not hard for me to say this. Let me just go ahead and say it. It's systematic. It's an organized, systematic way of reducing the numbers of African Americans. And, but to know that there are so many black babies being aborted, but yet we aren't out there causing, stirring up the masses and trying to get these things closed down through prayer, through social activism. Although most of our babies are the ones that are being disproportionately aborted through these facilities. And we like to use, well, the term of, a woman's right to choose and all that, that didn't come into the 70s, the Roe versus Wade and all that stuff. Oh my gosh. If you actually watch the documentary on it that I saw, it is very eye-opening. And like the gay rights movement, it was more of a strong arm than it was anything that was legitimately sound in terms of why laws were changed and so forth. But anyway, yeah, that was very disheartening when she told me that. And I guess the thing that bothers me is that, we do all these marches. I mean, they had people marching for Bobbi Kristina. They had a vigil outside the hospital for Bobbi Kristina. And don't get me wrong, God bless that family, and I pray that, that everything goes right for her, and that her health, and that she recovers. However, what I'm saying is that when you have people driving down to Atlanta to do a prayer vigil for Bobbi Kristina, and we have all these Planned Parenthood abortion clinics outside of in our neighborhoods that are predominantly placed in our neighborhoods or close to it, but yet none of us are marching there. I mean, that really concerns me. I mean, really, guys. I mean, think about that. So you can agree with the systematic way, and I'm not saying you, whoever's watching this, but we agree with the systematic way of eliminating black births, but let a white cop, kill a teenage black boy, and we're all up in arms, and it makes national news. But at the same time, those liberal media outlets are not saying anything about Planned Parenthood, because again, liberal, right to choose, using the language that sounds nice as opposed to killing a baby. And and you know what, that sounds harsh, but that's really what it is. And the other day, my wife showed me this picture of this one lady who, she had a premature baby, and the baby, she started having contractions and they couldn't stop it. And of course the baby died. But she took a picture, the lady took a picture of the baby, and I can't remember how many weeks the baby was. But I mean, the baby was tiny. I mean, really tiny, maybe 3 or 4 inches long at that point. And for some reason, her body couldn't hold the baby. So, but anyway, in that particular medical situation, she wanted to take a picture and remember that, she did have a baby at some point in time. And the picture is so moving in that you see the development of this person and the life that is being created inside the womb. And when people just call it a mass, of tissue, is foolishness. The fact that everything is growing means that it's alive. So that means what abortionists have to do, they have to kill it. Because there are cells that are growing, so that means that they're alive. I mean, if we can study biology and look at plants that are growing and call it a live plant, then surely a sperm and an egg that has now started creating the baby is now growing and the cells are dividing, then that means it's alive. Now, I'm progressing and digressing. So anyway, but it's really sad that we can have those conversations about the Trayvon Martin situations and things of that nature, and they're wrong, not knowing all the facts of that and so forth, but, it is a heated debate, and racism and all that. But one of the most racist things is the development of Planned Parenthood and how it's systematically killing black babies. And predominantly there are black women, of course, that are going in there, black young girls. And the creator of Planned Parenthood, she's lauded as being the creator, Margaret Sanger, is known for her racism regarding African Americans, black people. And as a matter of fact, I have a quote from Miss Margaret Sanger. And here's one of her quotes using preachers that she talks about. She says, "We should hire 3 or 4 colored ministers, preferably with social service backgrounds and with engaging personalities. The most successful educational approach to the Negro is through religious appeal. I mean, that's some stuff right there. So she's saying basically, if you want to get black folks involved, you got to involve the church. You got to get some preachers that can hype them up, and black folks will then get involved, because otherwise black folks would not get involved. Now, this is the so-called, the woman who's been lauded as the creator of Planned Parenthood. Now, and she's talking about how do we curb the black population. And let me just continue on. Okay, so she goes on to say, we do not want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population, and the minister is the man who can straighten out that idea if it ever occurs to any of their more rebellious members. You see what I'm saying? And here we are. We be the first ones to vote for President Obama, who is a huge Planned Parenthood supporter. Huge. Him and his wife. I mean, they are all up in the Planned Parenthood. Oh my gosh, Planned Parenthood is, anyway, it's just evil. So, but yeah, but Barack Obama is a huge supporter, and y'all, this was all a game. You gotta realize this. But yeah, so I know this post is rather lengthy, and I'm gonna go to my second point here about this. But yeah, Margaret Sanger, the woman who is lauded as being the creator of and developer of Planned Parenthood, those are her words, and there are other words, because it comes down to eugenics, and it comes down to sterilization, population control, and all of that. And the fact that the Planned Parenthoods are strategically placed in certain neighborhoods. And then you have the woman, those are her words. Look it up, people. My gosh, we've got to do something. So my whole point is, y'all, we have to mobilize. We have to be the face. Also, the church, the black church, well, the church period, because all babies are precious. I don't care what color they are. And we need to mobilize and get together and stand outside these Planned Parenthoods and pray. Non-violently, and not making people feel guilty, but pray. And for those who have had the procedure, offer support, emotional support afterwards, because what they don't tell you is that many women carry around a heavy burden after committing abortion. They carry around a heavy burden. My wife still today gets people who contact her and let her know how long they have held in the pain of having an abortion, and they just crying and boo-hooing, and it's just absolutely amazing. So, but at any rate, but yeah, so apart from that, the fact that we're not out there, again, the numbers of African-American women that are going in there for the abortions. You know, I mean, there are alternatives. I mean, you can give the baby up for adoption. There are plenty of families that would take those children and all of that. I mean, there are alternatives. So, but guys, we have got to be on the forefront. I mean, and that's my cause. My reason for saying this is to stir people up, to get people, you know, with a holy righteous anger to say, let's do something about these issues. We can cry about the police shooting down a young black teenager, but again, we're shooting down ourselves. We're killing ourselves every day over a pair of sneakers, over some foolishness. I mean, you can just go to YouTube and watch all the stupid fights and murders and all that kind of stuff that we do to ourselves, but yet as soon as a white person does it, then we're all up in arms. So, I mean, come on. You know, and don't get me wrong, I understand there's racism within a lot of the police fraternal organizations, so I get that. But at the same time, we have to look in the mirror, guys. We have to look in the mirror and stop trying to blame other people, but yet we do the same things to ourselves. But that abortion thing, really? I mean, we are disproportionately aborting our babies, and I'm trying to figure out why. I really don't get it. It's crazy, man. It's really, really crazy. But anyway, guys, Jesus is Lord. And you know what? I think when you pick up the mantle and the cross of Christ and you walk with that, it gives you a whole, and you understand that this life is not about you, but it's about you going out and making a difference in the lives of others. And not everybody's called for this type of ministry, but if God has called you to at least pray, at least offer a donation, support those who are doing something, then do it. We need to do it, because we need to be each other's support, and we need to go out here and save some lives. Anyway, this is James from the I'm Free Project. Jesus is Lord. I am out of this, so I'm going to let y'all just go ahead and discuss this among yourselves. All right? Holla.